And the lesson plans, I'll just give you a quick heads up that the lesson plans are part of the Oxford Picture Dictionary program. It's a separate entity, and I'll show you the program at the very end of the webinar. But here, this paper would go around the group, and each student would take turns labeling the words he or she sees in the image. So in this case, they're at the word level. But if I go to roundtable writing, the students are writing different sentences that would allow the students to pass that paper around, but still create a unified paragraph about the picture that they're seeing. There are samples of the listening activities on the Oxford Picture Dictionary website. There are samples of all of the materials for one unit, and you can download that, and I'll give you the website. I believe the website's in your handout, actually. How can learners work effectively in synchronous mixed-level groups? We know that we want learners to be moving from their same level into communicative tasks. And here are a few ways to do that. You can do it with grid games, again using picture cards, sentence maker using word cards, role play based on pictures, interviews, again with pictures as support, and problem solving, also with pictures. All of these are part of the program. They're either in the lesson plans or in the multi-level activity book called Classic Classroom Activities. I think that the group is pretty familiar with the concept of role play and interviews and problem solving, but you may not have seen a grid game before, so I wanted to model that for you here. In a grid game, both learners have a grid with different information, but it's the same information, but each square has something different in it, and they each have the same set of picture cards. So they have a complete set, a grid, and a set of picture cards that are identical. And the first student, Julio, says, "It's sunny in Boston," if we're on our weather theme. And the second student, Martine, clarifies, "Sunny?" And Julio says, "Yep, sunny." And then this is what it looks like. This is what they're doing. So when Julio says sunny, Martine and Julio both put the sunny picture card on the grid. So if I were to say to you, "It's 60 degrees in Detroit," you would move that picture card onto Detroit. At the end, much like Battleship, we compare our grids to see if our communication task was successful. What makes this a multi-level situation is that the lower level learners can just be saying sunny Houston or Jane pajamas if we're on clothing, and the mid and higher level learners can be creating more authentic exchanges. Jayme, I'm going to answer that question specifically when I'll write back to you on that, but Jayme's point of how do we keep all learners engaged, the answer to keeping all learners engaged is having roles, time limits, and an understanding of group management skills, and we have to teach that to our learners. It's a very important part of the multi-level environment to make sure that all learners understand that they have a level of responsibility for their learning. And I know that sounds very highfalutin in elementary and middle school, but I've seen it work extremely effectively at those levels, and sometimes adult level is where it falls apart. So I will be very happy to answer Jayme's question in full, and I even have a little handout material that I can send with that. So for those of you that are looking at that question, know that it will be answered more completely. Sentence maker can be done with pictures. I'm showing it to you just with word cards, but it's after you've taught the images and really solidified the concepts with the learners. Now it's an opportunity for them to work in groups, in roles, and they are going to take this page of words and cut them up, and the lower level learner is going to assemble the word cards into sentences or questions or negative statements based on what his group is telling him. The higher level learner, who would start rearranging the paper and getting in the lower level learner's face, has a task that keeps him or her from dominating the process. And that task is that once everyone agrees that the sentence or the question is correct, the higher level learner records it. They cannot go on to the next question or the next sentence forming until they've written this down and agreed that it's correct. So then they're free to create another question or statement, and the higher level learner writes that down. There is a time frame on this activity, but it is not a competition, and it's really important to make it clear to the students that they're working, the competition is to work well as a team. That's what the goal is. It's not to create 20 sentences. Although one of the great things in a multi-level setting, you always have a speed spectrum. So those learners who might say done will never be done. They will be able to continue writing and making sentences long after you call time, if you so choose. So we've had a couple of questions in going through the various, I want to make sure I pull up the chat pod again. 34. Yes. And I wanted to help you understand how the multi-level program supports, how the OPD program supports multi-level instruction. And I know I've been throwing these names around, but now you'll be able to see the actual books that are part of our program as well as the technology. And Leanne, all of these materials are coming from what you're about to see. If hopefully it will load up relatively soon. Here we go. So I would love to hear from a couple of you if you're seeing this already, because I'm trying to watch on my laptop as well as my desktop. So if you could, a couple of you could just type in a Y if you're seeing it, great. Okay, so what you're seeing right here, thank you. Okay, we can stop saying yes. Yeah, that's good. A bunch of books is a good thing to see. It's a lot of work. It's a bunch of books and a lot of work. That's what you're seeing. So what I want to do is kind of connect for you where these various things are located based on what Leanne was asking. So the multi-level presentation strategies of which I spoke earlier are all in the lesson plans, and the lesson plans are right here. And they are wraparound books, so you get all of the picture dictionary pages as well as complete lesson plans. The multi-level activities are both on the Oxford Picture Dictionary page itself as well as in the Classic Classroom activities. So you see the picture dictionary, and on the picture dictionary page, which you'll see in your handout, you'll be able to see that there are multi-level activities, and they start from the simplest to the most complex. So we start out with things like listen and point, and move to peer dictation, and then to role play right on the picture dictionary page. All of the multi-level objectives, which happen to be the really most difficult thing to write, once you've written the objectives, the plan flows out, especially if you have some support material, she said in a very self-serving way. But the objectives are sometimes quite challenging, and those are all in the lesson plan book. The listening is in the lesson plans as well. And the multi-level readings for the story pages are on the website. So the story pages themselves are in the dictionary, and then you can find the multi-level readings on the website. And I will verify that I've given you that website, but if I haven't, I'm going to ask Michael to type it in. I am pretty sure that I have it in there. Michael, could you just type the website, or Dane, if you would just type the website into the chat pod?